Good morning. I've been fishing throughout the night in River Weile, and I was lucky enough to catch a sea trout, as you can see here before me. This is a female and a rather deep one, one of the more heavy types that we've got here in River Weile. The fish took on a Scierra Zonker during the night time, and now it's morning and we have some light so that we can show you the fish. The Scierra Zonker is a fly that I developed to fish nighttime sea trout. It's a rather big fly and it's got loads of contrasts in it. You've got silver body, you've got big black Zonker rabbit strip wing and big hackles, also in black. So you've got this combination of silver and black, and that makes the fly really visible during the different conditions of the night. Here you can see an example of the Scierra Zonker. This was actually the exact fly that got me this fish. As you can see, it's made with a silver body, and you've got a palmer hackle around to give the silver some contrast and give the fly some volume. Then you've got a Zonker wing. This is a big rabbit strip and some flash. And when this goes in the water, the wing will be moving like this. So it's coming across like this in the water. It's a fly that I've tied with no weight on it, so it's rather light, and that means they will come just below the surface, pulling waves after it on the water surface. As you can see, the Scierra Zonker is a rather big fly. That means I need some equipment that can handle this type of big fly. What I've been fishing with tonight is the Scierra Flylight version 2 10-foot 7-weight. On this setup I have a rather long rod that gives me the possibility to control and maneuver the fly when it skates across the surface. I've put on a Scierra HMT version 2 weight forward floating fly line in an 8-weight. And I do this because I have to cast a big fly, and I don't cast very long distances here in River Weile because it's quite narrow. So therefore I use a fly line that's a bit heavier than what my recommended weight should be. In the front of my fly line I've tied an intermediate poly leader to get the fly just a bit down and to get the leader down from the water surface, so that you've got nothing that makes small splashes in the water when it comes across, or small lines in the water. Everything is below the surface and you just see the fly coming across. The tip for this particular type of fly fishing is an 0.35 millimeter. Because I need something that is quite strong, because at times, if we're really lucky, we get fish up to about 8, 9, 10 kilos down here, and we need to be able to keep them out of the vegetation. So 0.35 millimeter tip, and not too long. I think I have about a bit more than a rod length of leader material all in all, if you include the poly leader. But that ensures a nice presentation, and you can control the fly when it moves across in the water. So that is my choice of tackle when fishing with these types of flies. When fishing the Scierra Zonker, it's important to get it across in the right angle on the water. what you want is the fly to reach the exact opposite side. You want to get it as close to the other bank as possible. Then it needs to be on a stretch line and come out immediately across the river. So what you do is that you angle your cast in the direction that you want to get it. When you get the fly to the other bank, it's important that you start it up immediately. You can do that by either pulling in the line or by raising the rod. This is where the long rod comes in handy. I can put it over there and I can raise the rod tip, and then the fly will come skating across rapidly. I hold the rod towards my own bank, and when the fly comes into my own bank, I pull the rod out over the water. I do that so that the fly can get the last bit of the drift into your own bank, because sometimes the fish are lying in your own bank, and that's where you get them sometimes. As you can see, it's really important that the fly goes all the way to the other bank. You need it to get as close to the other bank as possible. The reason for that is that the fish will be lying underneath the different types of vegetation on the bottom. And I don't want the fish to see the fly coming into the water. But what I want is that the fly comes across on the water and it comes as a surprise for the fish. That means it gives it no time to think, so it just has to take the fly. And that is the type of presentation we're looking for with this type of fly. Casting these big flies, I always use a pulley leader to turn over the fly. The pulley leader helps you because it has a higher mass than an ordinary leader, so it turns over the fly, the bigger fly, a bit better. I then also choose a weight forward line that has a rather steep front taper, so that I don't have a long front taper that will gradually take off the energy in the loop. I want a fly that comes rather aggressively across because it's a big fly and it weighs a lot when it's wet. So I always use the weight forward line with a steep front taper and a pulley leader to turn over the fly correctly.